to that divine essence, that one supreme essence that pervades nature, pervades all being, pervades our own being. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. So this is a contemplation for shloka number 30. So the shloka number 30, it was said, Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya dhyatma chetasa nirashir nirmamo bhutva yudhyasva vigatajvaraha. So renounce everything to me, meaning surrender to me, give everything to me, and be centered in the self, centered in your own being, in your own consciousness. And then go about doing your duties, fulfill your duties. So this is actually a remedy, Bhagavad Gita's remedy to how to function in the world, how to act in the world, how to function in the world. So this is a beautiful way. This shloka gives a very productive and useful way on how to be active in the world by surrendering everything to the Lord. So this is some contemplation just to check. Sometimes when we are getting stressed, what is happening? We are holding on to the results. We are not focusing on the efforts. So whenever I put in my best efforts, do I get strained? Whether it is even a simple thing in your house, if we are cooking for guests or something, or if you are doing some job in some business. We Bhagavad Gita is telling us we just do our effort, the best effort. Do I get stressed and tired? Do I run into conflicts and tensions with co-workers and family members? See, usually, when there is a collision of desires, when there is a conflicts are usually the two desires of people conflicting with each other. Of course, from a spiritual point, sometimes, we have to uphold what is our duty. And then if somebody is having very negative things, but if there is just some preference, if there is, say, something like, uh, I knew one sannyasi in our ashram during our ashram days, and he never had any kind of preferences. I mean, meaning he had such an attitude of just being surrendering, like sometimes somebody would want to sit in some seat and he would very happily let go because those were not the big things. When we focus on the bigger goals of life, the smaller things, there is a word for it. Don't fret the small things. Don't get caught up with small little things. So this is a way, of letting go. What does letting go mean? That is also important. We have to ask ourselves. Sometimes we have to we have to do the right thing. Sometimes we have to face up. We shouldn't be like as you say, a doormat. It is not about that. But yet it is not about being fussy about little things. And also, like seniors, elders, teachers. So these are the people with whom we should be very careful never to have our things. So this is where the training is. Sometimes, people say, this teacher is not good, that teacher is not. So that is if you taken someone as a teacher, that attitude should not be whether they are good or not, they are doing correct or not. It is about changing ourselves. That is where, we surrender to the Lord. When we trust the divine, then the right thing happens to us. Instead of compromising the intensity of my efforts, can I possibly let go of attachment to the outcome? So sometimes we think, like results are not coming, so I should work hard, so I should put more effort, so we get more stressed out about that. So the important thing is we should do our best, but yet it should not be in a tensed way. A relaxed way will yield us much greater results. All right, so this is the contemplation. All right, so now third chapter, we are looking at the karma yoga. So the karma yoga process we have been discussing here. So there are, as we have discussed in previous classes also, there are these two fundamental process of karma yoga, going through the karma yoga process. So the first one, as we discussed, is renouncing the fruits of actions, not be focused on the results, but to do our duties, to do our actions. And the higher way is to renounce the doership, kartrutva, not having that idea that I am the doer of actions. So this is, the Lord's way of teaching the karma yoga. So now, when we talk about karma yoga, when we talk about actions itself, so generally, actions, are they a means for moksha or are they a means for following the path of dharma? This is a question sometimes that comes up, meaning that actions we do, worldly actions, duties we do. So is this the means for following dharma? Dharma means doing righteous actions. So this is when we say dharma, in Sanskrit, sometimes when we say dharma, we also mean religion. Sometimes we say, this is the dharma he follows. Meaning it is a religion. So what is religion focused on? Religion is focused on right and wrong actions, primarily. Like if you look at many religions, they are focused on right and wrong actions, especially even Nastic darshans, if in India especially, those non-Vedic darshans, especially such as Buddhism, Jainism and all that, they are focused, their primary teachings are focused on that, doing right and wrong actions, ahimsa, satya and all that. So now, just a point from a general context. Maybe I will ask all of you. It's from a general context, actions, doing right or wrong actions, is that a means for moksha, meaning liberation, or is that just a means for getting punya, dharma? Hmm? Anybody wants to contribute? Actions, worldly actions, duties. Are they a means for moksha or for dharma? Anybody?
Can be for
I think mainly.
Some. Anyone can go. I can. What did you say, Kartika?
right and wrong action is karma for punya papa, good deed, bad deeds.
Okay, good. Then who else?
Mostly it's worldly.
Yeah.
But it can lead to dharma, then from dharma to moksha. So this is a leading path, but not completely based on punya papa. Knowledge also important. Jnana yoga also important.
Okay. Anybody else? So is the
Mainly
action.
for the actions are mainly for the pursuit of dharma, of a dharmic life, and purification of life, spiritualization of life, and chitta shrudi. Chitta shrudi.
Anybody else? Dharma leads to moksha, or I mean the karma. I say karma. It leads to moksha or to dharma. Who else? Anybody else?
Karma also, there is a different type of karma, like prarabdha karma. Like you have to reduce until you are left with your that prarabdha karma. Then you are quite empty, quite done with karma. I don't know. That's
Okay,
what
that's
I.
a different. Wait, Karthik.
Mhm.
That's a different
Okay.
topic. We will look at it later.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody else?
Swamiji, can we say
Ah.
like Shravanam, Mananam, all these are like a part of karma only, which might lead to moksha because with the body and the mind we need to like do an action sort of probably contemplate and all. So it might to an extent, but again the knowledge idea should be there to meditate on the knowledge or something.
Yeah, so this is a fine line here. So these are good thoughts. All of you have covered most of the points here. So actions as such, whatever daily day-to-day actions, duties, and all that we do. So the day-to-day actions and duties are a means for dharma, primarily. Meaning, like our work we do, our like if you are a father, taking care of your family, your children, if you are the breadwinner. So those are actions which are dharmic based. However, now there are actions. There are some actions, which actually also Karthik was also mentioning. So there are some actions which are not compelled by your just prarabdha or as Varun was saying, those actions which are driven towards moksha. So, from a pure spiritual context, these two are separated. From a normal spiritual life, these two are generally separated. Like we call them as Dharma Shastra, Moksha Shastra. There are scriptures which is focused only on the teachings of Dharma. Like which will only tell you what is right and wrong. And then there are teachings which are focused only on seeking liberation, freedom. So when we look at it, generally we say sometimes, in the Vedic context, there's a Karma Kanda and then there is the Upanishad. Karma Kanda is the right, wrong, and all that. And these are means for attaining punya, meaning good merits, good deeds. So they also lead a very pious life, very, like there is this famous story of a person, Kumarila Bhatta. He was a very famous Vedic scholar. And at that time in India, Buddhism was quite dominant. So, in order to understand Buddhism, in order to, you know, find out, he he pretends to be a Buddhist monk, and then he learns the Buddhist teachings, all of them. And then he comes back and then he criticizes them. Because now he knows them all. He knows all their points. He criticizes them and he becomes a teacher. And then later on he realizes that he kind of cheats his guru. He has cheated his guru there, and he decides to kill himself. I mean, burn himself. And that is when Shankaracharya meets him. So he says because now, if you really look at it, he's walking the pure path of dharma. Because he cheated his guru by not telling him properly and all that. So he burns himself. So that is a path of dharma, very kind of a conscientious living. Now, the thing is, the Dharma Shastra is not the direct means for moksha, but it is the indirect means for moksha. How, as one of you mentioned, when somebody has such a pious, pure heart and a pure mind, the knowledge becomes easily accessible to them. One is, we say, through the grace, through Lord's grace and Guru's grace and all that attunement. But more importantly, that mind is able to contemplate on the truth, because there is no kind of distortions of all the evils. That vasanas are not there. So the ability to focus, the ability to absorb, and the ability to contemplate and have interest in that is greater. So this is the point in general context. The moksha shastras, meaning the teachings of liberation, are different. Teachings for dharma are different. However, in the Gita, in Bhagavad Gita, what the Lord does is he combines both these together. So that is why, sometimes we say Bhagavad Gita is both a Dharma Shastra and a Moksha Shastra, meaning it is a scripture that talks about righteous living, but in the context of spiritual liberation, in the context of realization. So it covers both. So in this context now, the Lord will talk again about our actions and our duties. So our day-to-day duties and our actions. So actions here, Vedic wise, we have discussed this. Actions, there are primarily, we have gone through this, certain Vedic actions, Vedic things, which are actions we are supposed to do. All of us are supposed to do. And then there are actions which are prohibited, which are not something that we are supposed to do. Anybody remembers the names for these Vedic actions?
Is it the Nitya, Naimitika,
Yes,
Nishta,
very good.
Prayaschitta?
Very good. Yeah, Nitya Naimittika. What is Nitya Naimittika?
One's own duty. That daily routines.
Yeah.
And then forbidden.
One more is there. Anybody?
Yes.
Kamya.
Kamya karma.
Kamya karma, yes.
So there's Nitya Naimittika, Kamya karma, and Prayaschitta karma. And sorry, Nishiddha karma. Nishiddha karma is that prohibited duties. So mainly four, but we can also say Prayaschitta, which is atonement, repentant kind of duties. But the main thing, we have to remember is Nitya Naimittika and Kamya karma. So when we talk about Nitya Naimittika, it is our duties that it is ordained in that. Like as you are saying, Paradharma, or what we came into this life fulfill are these fundamental duties. So they say, from the Indian cosmological thing, why is somebody born? So that person has certain roles, certain duties to fulfill. These are the Nitya Naimittika karmas. Now, these are the ones that the Lord is saying you should do. Like as a, in your workplace also, there are some duties you have to do, right? You cannot shirk away from that. So those, like if you are working at a bank, people are coming, you have to serve them. So this is a duty of a bank teller. Then he may have other projects he may want to do and all that. That is different. But those are the fundamental duties he's assigned for. Similarly, all of us have certain Nitya Naimittika duties. Now there is Kamya Karma. Now this Kamya Karma is the cause of lot of problems in our life. So Kamya Karma is that desire-driven duties. Generally, we say desire-driven duties are those that out of some notions for our ego, for our sensory satisfaction, or just a sense of greed, desire for power, all this, which are ego propelled. These are egoistic propelled. Now, these are the duties that cause us problem, and because we have done those duties, we are caught again in that wheel. We are done the duties which we are not supposed to have been doing, or not something that was enjoyed for us. So this is from a purely Vedic context. Now, it is true that sometimes some of the things, good desires are there. We want to help others, we want to be of service to the society. So there are some good desires. So they are not that binding. In fact, they are the means for us to unbound ourselves from that which we are already bound. So there's also that kind of things. So, a lot of things come like seva, service to community, and all that come under that. Okay, but that we will come to later. All right. So now this context has been put to us by the Lord, where he talks about a one part here. Sadrisham chesta swasyaha prakrite jnanavanapi Prakriti yanti bhutani nigraha king karishyati. So everybody, when they try to withhold themselves from things that they shouldn't be doing. So every person in some way gets these desires. Some desires creep in. Where do these desires creep in? Like sometimes, they say that in one of the Dharma Shastras it is mentioned. A very dharmic person is there. Then he's serving in the kingdom. He's like a minister or he's a commander. Then there is a small opportunity, the king dies or something. Then he thinks that why can't I become the king? Why should I wait for the prince to become the king? So where did that thought come from? And the illustration wise, I'm saying the other examples given there is somebody is married, has living with this wife, having a happy life, but then some girl comes in his life and he decides to, I mean, she's a married girl and all that. He gets involved with her. So these are some society's evils, right? We all hear about these stories. So now, where did this come from? What is that? What compels him to do these things? So this is a question the Lord Himself is posing. The Lord is putting this question so that Arjuna can be a little open to ask questions. So Arjuna will also later on now ask this question. But the Lord is actually telling us that even a person who is wise, who is following the path, suddenly this desire has come. What can he do? So almost the Lord is saying he's helpless. He's almost like trying to talk for that person. So, but this is the human aspect. Now, the Lord actually gives that little, now in the coming shlokas, he explains these points. All right, so let us look at these shlokas. Shloka number 33. We looked at 33. Sadrisham cheshtate swasyaha. Prakriter jnanavanapi. So jnanavan is a wise person, meaning one who has studied the dharmas. He knows what is right, what is wrong. Dharma shastras he has studied. Not necessarily the spiritual text, meaning the self knowledge, but somebody who may have even studied that, but maybe at a theoretical level. So, but he is subject to prakriti. Prakriti meaning he's somewhat caught up in this lures of prakriti for power, sensual desires, worldly possessions, all this. So, how can he restrain himself? The Lord Himself is posing the question there. And then now he answers that. So everybody, you can repeat after me. Shloka number 34. Indriyasyendriyasyarte ragadveshau vyavastitau
Vyavastito
tayo navashamagachet
Raje
tauhyasya paripantinau
Yasya Paripantino
Shreyan Svadharmo Vigunaha
Svadharma
Paradharmat Swanushtitat Swadharme Nidanam Shreya
Shreya
Paradharmo Bhayavaha Arjuna Uvacha Atha kena prayuktoyam papancharati purushaha anichannapi vashneya Bhaladiva niyojitaha.
बलादिवनियोजितः
Shri Bhagavanuvacha.
श्रीभगवानुवाच
Kama esha krodha esha.
काम एष क्रोध एष
Rajo guna samudbhavaha.
रजो गुणसमुद्भवः
Mahashano mahapapma.
महाशनो
Mahashano
महापाप्मा
Mahapapma
Vidyena vairinam.
विद्येन मिह
Vairinam.
Ah. So now the question that the Lord had asked us, what can restraint do? How can we control that? How can one be controlled when Prakriti, the force of Prakriti, is propelling that person to go beyond that dharma, beyond what is virtuous, what is righteous? Prakriti is pushing him. So why should and how can this person control himself? So now the Lord himself answers that. So he doesn't answer the whole thing, but he gives one perspective for that. Now here he says indriyasya in indriyasya indriyasyarte. So there is two use of indriya. Indriya means senses. There is senses and sense objects. So between the senses and sense objects, there is like a connection. When some sense object comes, then the senses kind of start working towards them. When there is raga dvesha, raga means, so this words will keep coming again and again. So everybody, it's better if you just remember the Sanskrit words. Raga means attachment. Means something that we excessively love or like. Unhealthily love or like, get attached to, that is raga. Dvesha is aversion, means something we don't like, we kind of almost like develop a hatred towards it, an unhealthy dislike towards something. And now the objects and the senses don't by themselves function. Like in the sense objects don't by themselves get attached to an object, or a senses doesn't by themselves get disliking and move away from an object. So what is the basis of that raga dvesha? So there is a normal functioning of sense and sense objects. Like if the eyes see some food and there is hunger, then it will eat it. But if it is obsessed by raga dvesha, what happens? It will start excessively liking things that it wants to eat, and it will put away all good and healthy things because it doesn't taste good. So that is where the senses don't function properly because it is obsessed by raga dvesha. Tvayona vashavam agachet. One should not come under this. Why? Tau hi asya paripanthinau. They are your enemies. Enemy from which point? Enemy not from the senses point. Enemy from your overall well-being point. Enemy from your spiritual journey of life. So this raga dvesha is the one. So this is again coming to the central teaching of Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita focus on how one should not get obsessively attached to something, nor one should get excessively disliking towards anything or anyone. So this is where our reason, our wisdom will get swayed away, and the Lord will talk more about that. Now this is setting the stage here to understand that by the point I had mentioned earlier, what we talked about, our duties. What was our duties in life, which we don't do. Why? Because we are driven by this raga dvesha. We say kamya karma. Kamya karma means desire actions, but it also includes aversion actions. Like if I don't like something, I will move away from that. Let's say I'm doing my job and I enjoy that job, but I don't like something in that company or something in there, somebody there. So I decide to quit that job. So this is what, not out of a proper reason. This is just because you don't, like somebody or something. So this is these are where, Raga Dvesha will tamper with our karma. So sometimes we say, like how does this thing of karma has come into our life? So that functioning of karma, the cause and effect, is the fundamental philosophy of life. So we get lot of things clear if we can subscribe to this karmic thing. What we call as good luck. I just call it because of good luck. It is not necessarily like good luck. We become responsible people. We realize that some bad luck has happened, something has happened, so it is part of not blaming somebody or something. We take responsibility for what we are facing in our life, and it will motivate us to do good things. We will motivate us to walk the life of what scriptures especially is telling us. So this is why scriptures are important. So there is a big discussion. How is scriptures just telling me something which I could have reasoned myself? No, scriptures tells us something which is not easily accessible for human intellect. So this is the greatness of why in the eons also people always keep coming back to scriptures. So even the gurus, we say, you should follow a guru who is following the scriptures, because these are the ways to get some intelligence which is not accessible just to a human mind. The human mind always is limited, but that collective knowledge of scriptures is beyond what the human. So I've never experienced death. I mean, I've not experienced consciously dying and being reborn, right? So I don't know what I went through, what all struggles I've gone through in my previous life to bring me to this state. So this is where having that understanding of karma is a very useful thing for our daily life functioning. So now, based on this, again he's connecting that thing with dharma. Dharma means, now here the next part of dharma doesn't mean just like virtuousness. Dharma here means duties. So dharma has many meanings. It is based on the context it is used. Now the Lord talks about two words, and these words are discussed quite extensively. And especially those of you who ever want to be involved with some active way of teaching Gita or being involved in samskaras, you have to understand these words very carefully. And these words are Svadharma and Paradharma. So now the Lord will talk about this. See this shloka. It says, Shreyan Swadharmo Vigunaha, Paradharmat Swanushtitat. This same line will come again in the 18th chapter. So here he introduces this. Shreyan Swadharma Vigunaha, your own duty, even though if it doesn't have a lot of attraction, lot of kind of a glamour. These days we say, my job is not so glamorous. So even if the job is not so glamorous or so remunerating, you may not be earning the top job money which all other jobs give, but it is your dharma, it is your duty. It is what has been given to you. Shreyan Swadharmo Vigunaha, Paradharmat Swanushtitat. The other's duty, like let us say you get attracted, like somebody wins say Olympics or somebody wins a championship. Suddenly you decide that you will leave your job and endeavor to become that Olympic champion. So what happens, that is not your dharma. Of course, some people have a natural propensity for that, and the calling comes, that is okay. But somebody who is not kind of quite made out for that, they are caught up with Raga Dvesha. See, this is why, the previous shloka we have to understand. When you are caught up with Raga Dvesha, you see a movie actress and you think, wow, it's so beautiful to be a movie actress. Or you see some, some politician and he has so much power and you decide like, wow, they have such wonderful cars, they get so much attention. So what happens? We get distracted from doing our duties. What has come to us? Shreyan Svadharmo Vigunaha. Your duty, even though it is devoid of all this glamour and power and all that, it is better. It is healthier. Shreya means that is good for your progress, your well-being, your overall life. Paradharma svanushthitat. Others' job, even if you can do it well, even if you feel like, oh, I can do that job well, or usually if you don't, you will, it is just a notion. If you had really that skills, abilities, you would have gone in that. So of course, like if somebody like, has a flavor for music and they are in some office job, but they have that aptitude for music, then they should look for training. They should be trained. So training is okay. You can go ahead, get trained and go about with that. But just this say a notion, that this is my duty. So of course, these words were taught from the context of what is called as the um, Varnashrama Dharma. In the Vedic context, Varna and Ashrama. Varnas means the four castes which were predominant at that time. Nowadays, of course, nobody follows that strictly. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. These were the castes. And they were given, as the Lord will say later, not based on their birth. They were based on their abilities, their gunas, guna karma vibhagaha. It is based on that now. And then there is the ashrama dharma. Ashrama means like one is a brahmacharya or a grihastha, vanaprastha or a sannyasi. Based on that, the dharmas are given. Each one's duties are taught. Now the Lord is saying that swadharma nidanam shreya, even if you have to die doing your own dharma, if you die fighting the war, like Arjuna will have to fight the war, and if you die doing your war duty, it is okay. A soldier fighting on the battlefield, if he dies on that, rather than he thinks, oh, I might die and I might run away from here, or I might do something else or help the enemy. So these are all the um, kind of wrong things for running away from your dharma. Um, Paradharma bhayavaha. The others' dharma will lead you to fear, meaning it will keep you caught up in this world. So this ones, I think, this is a, big topic. So there is I just want to connect this and the previous shloka, there is a couple of nice commentaries. So this is first Ramanuja's commentary. So he talks about, he says, an unavoidable attraction has been fixed for organs of sense like ear towards objects like sound, and for organs of actions like that tongue towards their objects like tasty food. Let us say your ears love something. It gets attached to it. Your tongue loves some food. It gets attached to it. He says this longing is in the form of desire to experience these objects, which is caused by old subtle impressions. Now, where did this come from? Where did this desire come? It came from past indulgence, past impressions, vasanas, we say. They create in us a desire to do again and again. When their experience is thwarted, an unavoidable aversion is experienced. So I love something. I want to go out, do something. Let's say you are a young boy, you want to go do something. Your parents say no. You get angry, right? So this is a notion which happens to all of us in different ways. Thus, these two, attachment and aversion, bring under their control one who aspires to follow Jnana Yoga, meaning one who wants to work according to wisdom, one who wants to follow the teachings, Jnana, and forcibly engage him in actions appropriate to them, in spite of his having established some sort of control over senses. Even though you desire to follow the scriptures, these things will take you away. Such an aspirant fails to get the experience of self and therefore becomes completely lost. Meaning we don't experience our true nature, our Atma Tattva. So this is Ramanuja also is actually a Visishta Dvaita, but he also talks about the importance of experiencing the self, that self which is free from all these desires. So no one practicing Jnana Yoga should come under the sway of attachment and aversions. It's meaning one who has wisdom, one who is walking the path of scriptures, for him these are the enemies. Now, that same thing, Shankaracharya, there's a beautiful another thing. He says, attraction and repulsion are sure to occur with regard to objects, such as sound. And then he says, as to that, the scope of personal effort and scriptural purpose are being stated. One who is engaged in the subject matter of scripture should in every way not come under the influence of love and hatred. Love here means something which you are excessively attached to. And what happens to that? And then, and then follow the rejection of one's own duties and the undertaking of someone else's duty. So what happens when we get excessively caught up? We think somebody else's duty is better. On the other hand, when a person controls love and hatred with the help of opposites, then he becomes mindful not only of scriptural teachings, he ceases to be led by their nature. So the prakriti which was driving us before, the prakriti which was making us act according to our vasanas, how do we practice it? How we practice mindfully through the manana we do, through the shravana we are doing. See, this is where, like as one of you was mentioned that actions we are doing, shravana, manana, nididhyasana, regularly when we contemplate on these teachings, then what happens? They cut this power of the prakriti to take us according to that force. Meaning that our self, we learn to abide in that self and we are not caught up with that force of prakriti, mainly operating through body and mind. We are not swayed away by body and mind, See, the ultimate remedy of all addictions in the world. So we may say, every technique for addictions and all that, they are all, in essence, really, they are temporary because it is only taking away your addiction from one sense objects and putting it maybe at a higher sense objects, a less addictive sense object. A real freedom from all addictions is this when we realize the true nature of self, of our Atma Tattva. And of course, we also realize the nature of Prakriti, the forces of nature, and worship that supreme being which is beyond Prakriti. So this is a thing, and the scriptures are an aid to that. And the scriptures and the teachings of Shastra, like Bhagavad Gita and all that, when we constantly keep them in our mind, we become mindful of them. We lead our life in that thing, constantly contemplating through that. Then we will not be led by Prakriti. Okay, now this is the thing. In this world, one impelled to love and hatred misinterprets even the teachings of scriptures and thinks that somebody else's duty has to be undertaken just because it is a duty. That is wrong. So this is just to help us understand the thing. Now we will just quickly look at this shloka, which is also a very beautiful shloka. Now Arjuna says, Atakkena prayuktoyam papam charati purushaha. Now that the Lord already talked about this Prakriti, Arjuna wants to know more about it. He's saying, Kena prayuktoyam, what it is, who is it that is pushing human beings to do papa, meaning the adharmic actions, unvirtuous actions, harming others, cheating others, betraying others, like all this, like even sometimes good people sometimes end up doing it. Why are they doing it? How is it that they're doing it? What is it that is pushing them to do it? Anichannapi, they don't desire to do it. They, in their good time. When they sit quietly morning, the resolve that today I will not get angry and scold or hit somebody. But then when they drive on the road, somebody cuts them, they get angry and they road rage, right? Smash into it. Anichannapi, they didn't intend to do that. Baladiva niyojita, forcefully they are pushed to do that. Sometimes you hear these stories, right? Road rage and all, they are very, they almost like kill somebody out of that. Baladivat, forcibly. They are forcibly pushed to do that. Unknowingly, forcibly, niyojita, pushed to do that. See, this is a very practical question Arjuna is asking. How is it that I didn't intend to do some things? Even if you take like, okay, I don't indulge in road rage and all that, but there are small things in our life. We wake up in the morning and we say like, okay, like now New Year's is coming, right? I will give up drinking coffee or I will give up eating sweets and all that, right? But that morning you wake up and somebody brings you that your most favorite food or your most favorite thing, and you decide, okay, today it's okay, this person has bought. So, but before you know, you're again back on the same track. Or you decide to go, start doing to the gym or yoga, like tomorrow onwards, every day morning I will do. Like those of you who teach yoga, people say from tomorrow they'll come. 2 days again, then again, it's back to the same thing. Baladivat, forcefully they are going back to their old ways or their something is pushing them. So this point here, Arjuna is asking based on what the Lord himself had actually mentioned. And now the Lord will answer that forcible thing, that forcible propensity is what we call as vasanas. So there is a subtle difference between what we call as vasanas and samskara. Of course, in a general language, they are the same. But samskara, what we say, impressions. Anybody knows? Anybody can guess what is the subtle difference between what we call as samskara, impressions, versus what we call as vasanas?
Swamiji, can we say that samskaras is that has sprouted? You know what I mean? That you can see better, and vasanas, they are hidden.
You're saying samskaras have sprouted, huh?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. So actually it's the opposite, but your point is correct. Samskaras are generally what is there, but we may or may not know it. So vasanas are that which we are acting out, meaning the vasanas are something that in this life it has started to manifest in us. See, sometimes vasanas is in a more you can say basic way translated as smelly. They smell, meaning that they have started giving their smell. Samskaras are also vasanas. We sometimes say that samskaras can also be vasanas. But the only difference is samskaras may be hidden. You may or may not know it. So in the we say, in Yoga Sutra, we say there are 4 kinds of samskaras or kleshas. Some are the hidden udhara, that which is manifesting, and the Thanu, and all of them, some which are hidden, which has not yet manifested, some which are dormant, which we don't even know it will be there. So these are the different ways the samskaras can be there. And some vasanas are forcible. So here the Lord uses vasanas in a way where it says Rajo Guna. See, it's one of the first times he introduces the gunas. The topic of gunas will come. Rajo Guna is that which is the very strongly manifesting. Rajo Guna means activating. It is in action. It is propelling us to do things. And he gives 2 examples for Rajo Guna. 2 emotions which are Rajo Guna based. What are they? He says, Kama Esha, Krodha Esha. Kama means desire. Krodha means what? Krodha means anger. So, Kama and Krodha, Rajo Guna Samudbhavaha. They are born out of Rajo Guna. So, the Rajo Guna, which is the guna that starts manifesting. These desires and the anger are born out of this Rajo Guna. So, Rajo Guna is generally meaning that which is manifesting, that which is active. So, generally, we equate vasanas with that because the vasanas are that which propel you to go act, do something. It is already manifesting. Vasanas can also sometimes be good, like good vasanas will want you to do good things. But mostly, we say sometimes like somebody may have a good, like we say, in our spiritual ashrams, we say sometimes there are students, they have good samskaras, we say, meaning they have not studied, they have not this one, but they may have good samskaras, meaning they have the potential to. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, time. Rui, a question.
Can we say that the samskaras are the traumas, and traumas not in a negative way? They are deep impressions. And the vasanas are the tendencies that these impressions, these traumas create. Like, for example, someone that almost drowns.
Yeah.
It's just drowns. It creates a trauma. And then it's natural that it becomes afraid of water.
Correct. Yes.
The afraid of water is the vasana, and the samskara was the trauma created by almost drowning.
Correct. That's a good example. Yeah, that's a very good example. So the trauma that was created is subtle. It is lying dormant. But the fear that is there, that inbuilt fear that is created because of that, that you can say is vasana. That is a very good example. So actually, all of you can think also on those lines. Any other examples you can think of? But in a more proactive way here, if you take the example the Lord is giving, it could be in could be in this thing that, let us say that when you were a kid, and somebody kind of cheated you, something. You were in a school and somebody cheated you. Or did something wrong to you. So you're grown up and then you are going through life and then some similar situation comes. Even before that situation may happen or may not even happen, you start getting angry. You kind of shout out at that person or do something. So where did that come from? That is that vasana created from previous experience. So that impression was created when you were young. Or sometimes, we say a lot in human relations, any human relationship, when you are in certain relationship, that sometimes, we become a bit sensitive because we know somebody is going to do something like that. We know their pattern. So that is again a vasana, that thing, we get irritated very soon about it. That is a vasana. That impression is there, that samskaras are there. Yeah, so samskaras are generally mentioned in a more generic sense. Vasanas are those generally more manifesting thing. And they are the ones that see the idea with Svadharma. When we say Svadharma, my duties, why am I doing my duties? Because I have these vasanas, I have to do my duties. So vasanas are a way for karma to be expunged. How does karma clear out in our life? By fulfilling those vasanas in a healthy way. So that is why, duties, service, all this is a means for overcoming the vasanas. Any questions? So this is actually the topic of Svadharma, Paradharma. This is a very personal one for each one. although from a general context here, it is talked in the Gita from a Varnashrama, that Svadharma, what is my dharma, is a constant pursuit of our life, because at no stage can we say, this is my Svadharma. It is like saying, I have now found a job. I have become an artist. It is not like, that you're always going to be an artist. But that Swadharma means is that quest for what is my duties at that stage in my life.
I have a question.
Yeah. Yeah, you're in mute.
I have a question related to the law of karma. Where does, according to the law of karma, there is no such thing as good luck or bad luck? Luck
Yes.
doesn't exist, right?
Correct. Yes.
There is no such thing as good luck, bad luck. There is only cause and effect.
Correct. There is, according to the pure law of karma, it is only cause and effect. So if somebody has an accident, accident is not an accident as such. So it is also a part of a karmic thing. I knew of a very famous teacher, a Buddhist teacher actually, and he was very well known, and everybody thought he's such a great teacher, but he died in a road accident. And everybody was puzzled, how is it possible that such a great teacher died in a, but all of that who were proper, this one, they said that is part of karma. Even every human being, see, even Lord Krishna, at the end of the stories of it, Lord Krishna was killed by a hunter. So we might think that how can such an accident happen to someone who controlled the whole destiny of Mahabharata war. So, but that is the force, that is the law of karma, how it functions. So, and then the story given there is in a previous life, some accident had happened. Lord in one of his avatara had caused the death of that person. And uh, so this is the way, like the whole of thing is looked upon. If we can't completely buy into it also, it is okay. At least we can look at it from this perspective that there is some mental impression that is created. Every action I do will further imprint that mental action. And based on that, I will experience my life. So in a day-to-day way, that is where the Yoga Sutras are a little different. They don't talk too much about karma, although they talk about karmashaya and they do fundamental belief in karma, but they talk more about samskara, because karma and samskaras are related. We carry with us the samskara in this life, which will manifest based on our karma. So sometimes, it is possible that a great saint, may be born in a almost oblivious way just to fulfill some karmic role, some karmic thing in their life.
If I may, can I ask another question?
Yeah.
I watched the other day some Swamiji also talking about that only actions with intention create create karma, right? Only actions with the intent. I kind of didn't agree. I think I see that everything creates an effect, even if it's a small effect, slight effect, but it does create something. Am I wrong?
I don't know whether he meant karma or did he mean samskara. He probably.
No, he was talking about the law of karma, and he was saying that well, not only actions with intention, with a sankalpa behind, create good or bad karma are like important.
Yeah, no, I think if you broadly translate, there is a point in what he says. See, karma is action and result. So what you're saying is that it is true. Like if I unconsciously do something, also I will get the result of that unintentionally. So this is the general working. That is why you see the Jain Munis. They put even a mask because they don't want to kill even intentionally any kind of a thing. But they are aware that they may unintentionally kill something and they will have the karmic effect of that. So this is a broad thing of karma. But what is in our control is intentionally if I do something bad. That creates not just a karma, that will create a samskara, mental impression. So what we have to be careful is not intentionally doing anything wrong or negative or things, because they will hurt us in a direct way mentally. That it will create a negative impression in us. But yeah, you can say he's not right from this perspective that uh, action without intention will not have an effect. That is not correct. Unintentional action also will have. In fact, this story I was telling you, that Krishna's thing. He didn't intentionally kill that person, but unintentionally he was wronged. That person was wronged. So Krishna himself died because that hunter in the next life killed him. So that was in the unintentional way. The karma came back to him. So, and that is why, many of these dharmic things people do, like in Hindu thing, like, feeding sadhus or doing good things, helping people, feeding things. See, these are things not so much for our intentional karma. For unintentionally, if I've done bad, these are ways to negate them. Of course, but we have to be also careful as those of us who are studying the Shastras, Upanishads and all that. Our main thing is not so much that doing every good action to overcome bad action. Our means is to realize the true self, the true reality, that Lord and ourselves. That is the way out. We don't have time to come back 100 lifetimes and do 100 good things. So the quick way is that gain knowledge and reality and abide in that. But in order to gain that knowledge and reality, we need some purity, some good actions. So that is where the good karma and all helps us, because there it will give us chitta shuddhi. Okay, good. All right, I'll stop it here. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Namo Narayana. So the tomorrow, next class Sunday we will have, and